Hello and welcome to Bites Bread and Barbecue. My name is Ross Contino. Today we're going to talk about making a traditional Italian bread called Buccellato. I had the privilege of recently being in Italy and traveled to the city of Lucca, which is supposedly the origin of this bread in Roman times. It is an interesting bread that is a combination of raisins and anise, and it is said that if you go to Lucca and don't sample the Buccellato, you haven't been to Lucca. So let's just take a look at where Lucca is. It is between the Italian Riviera and the city of Florence. It is found right here in northern Italy, and it is famous for being a walled city. It remained independent when a lot of Italy was conquered by other invaders. Because it was walled and had large cannons, it could remain independent. But the Buccellato bread that has lived here in Lucca has been there since Roman times. Now, if you do Google Buccellato, you will find that there's also a Sicilian version. And since I am Sicilian by heritage, it may be blasphemy that I'm going to attempt to try and cook the Lucca version of this. But I am going to try to give the Lucca version a shot because this is what I got to sample while I was in Italy. So let's begin. So the ingredients you're going to need to start with is you're going to take 1/3 of a cup of raisins and soak them in some warm water. You're going to need 3/4 of a cup of sugar. You're going to need 3 tablespoons of anise seed. You're going to need 10 grams of yeast. You're going to need 220 milliliters of very warm water. You're going to need 1 egg, virgin olive oil, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 4 1/3 cups of flour. And we're going to get our stand mixer together and start assembling these ingredients. The very first thing I'm going to do is activate my yeast. I'm going to take a little bit of the water, about half of what we have of the warm water, and I'm going to put my yeast in there and let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes to activate that yeast. This is a common practice to get the full yield of rising out of the yeast prior to making bread. I'm also going to put just a dash of the sugar in there so that the yeast has something to feed upon. So let's get a little glass here. We're going to add about half of our water into that glass. We're going to take our yeast and put that in there. And we're going to try to dissolve that. And I'm going to take just a dash of the sugar so that the yeast has something to eat. And we're going to mix that. And we're going to set that aside for about 10 minutes to 15 minutes. Alexa, give me a 15-minute timer.
Second timer, 15 minutes, starting now.
The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flour and I'm going to place that into a mixing bowl from my standing mixer. We're going to place that into a bowl. And to that, we're going to add the rest of the sugar. And we're going to mix this together so that it is well blended. So you're just getting your dry ingredients prepared. And the next thing that I'm going to add to this is going to be my activated yeast. So I'm going to wait for that to become active, and then I will be back on the other side. Bye.